Let's begin with Electronic Arts, though, agreeing to be taken private in this $55 billion deal. David, I assume you're all over this. Got some historic levels in terms of LBO history, right?
It's the biggest of all time. You know, we go back.
Electronic Arts. For millions, it was the soundtrack of their childhood. The roar of the crowd in FIFA, the thrill of a touchdown in Madden. It's not just a company, it's a cultural institution. And on September 29th, 2025, it was sold for $55 billion, the largest leveraged buyout in the history of the world. But the people who bought it weren't your typical Wall Street suits. The consortium was led by a relentless private equity titan, funded by the immense wealth of the Saudi Arabia, and orchestrated by the president's son-in-law? It's clear, this wasn't just a deal. It was a power play. A meticulously crafted move in a global game for influence, technology, and control. And the story of how it happened is more incredible than you can imagine.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
To understand this deal, you have to understand the players. First, the prize, Electronic Arts. A giant in the gaming world, with legendary franchises. We're talking FIFA, Madden, UFC, F1, Battlefield, Sims. It's a gamer's paradise. We all grew up playing their games and started hating them when they introduced microtransactions. But on the stock market, it was a sleeping giant. Its share price had stagnated for nearly 5 years, making it the perfect target for a predator. Enter the hunter, Egon Durbin, the co-CEO of Silver Lake, a legendary tech-focused private equity firm. For Durbin, EA was a white whale. He'd been eyeing it for over a decade. This is the man who teamed up with Michael Dell to take his computer company private in a $24 billion war against activist investors. He's known for playing a different game. Big numbers, all in. He sees opportunities where others don't dare to look. But even Durbin couldn't hunt this whale alone. He needed capital, immense capital. The kind you can only find in one place, the petrodollars of Saudi Arabia. Their public investment fund is a nearly $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund, and it's on a mission. The Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, an avid gamer himself, has a stated goal of making Saudi Arabia the global hub for gaming, earmarking $38 billion just for that purpose. The PIF was already a major shareholder in EA. They were interested, but they needed a push. And that's where the most unlikely player enters the game, Jared Kushner. After his father-in-law's first term in the White House, where he worked extensively on Middle East policy, Kushner started a private equity firm called Affinity Partners. And where did he get his seed money? $2 billion from the Saudi PIF. This wasn't just a business relationship. It was a deep connection forged in the highest echelons of global power, and it was about to pay off big time. The pieces were on the board. Durbin had the ambition. The Saudis had the money. But the timing for a deal was never right. Then, Durbin started spending time with Kushner, and everything began to fall into place. Kushner became the key. He was the one who brokered the initial connection between the dealmakers and the Saudi fund's leadership. Throughout the months of secret talks, codenamed Project Eagle, he was the central figure. When momentum slowed down mid-year, it was Kushner who pushed to keep it alive. He leveraged the deep personal trust he had built in Riyadh during his time in government. The first official bid landed around Labor Day. It was low, but it was close enough to get EA's board to the table. They hired big names like Goldman Sachs to fight for every last dollar. The game was on. But this wasn't about buying a company to flip it for a quick profit. This was about something much, much bigger. The buyers saw a future that Wall Street was missing. So why pay $55 billion? Why take on $20 billion in debt for a video game company? The answer comes in two parts. First, artificial intelligence. The consortium is making a huge bet that AI can fundamentally break the economics of game development. Imagine AI creating entire worlds, writing scripts, replacing voice actors, and testing games for bugs automatically. This could slash operating costs and send profits into the stratosphere. They aren't just buying EA's current catalog, they are buying an engine for a future AI-driven entertainment boom. But the second reason is even more profound. It's about influence. EA Sports' own president, Cam Weber, described the company as the front door to fandom for younger fans. Think about it. For millions of kids, their first exposure to the NFL, the Premier League, or Formula One isn't on a TV screen. It's on a controller. EA helps define fandom for the next generation. And for investors, this is worth more than the profits. Now look at who just bought that front door. Silver Lake has major stakes in the companies like UFC and Manchester City. The Saudi PIF owns football clubs, hosts UFC events, and acquired the golf league. They don't just own the teams anymore. They don't just own the leagues. Now, they own the game that teaches your kids to love those teams and leagues. It's a perfectly integrated empire of sports, entertainment, and culture. By mid-September, the consortium was ready to make its knockout bid. But to do it, they needed a weapon, a $20 billion financing package. A loan so big, only one person could approve it that fast. On September 17th, Egon Durbin dialed the office of Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan. Minutes later, Dimon called back. The answer was swift. Yes. JP Morgan would back the entire $20 billion package and deliver it in less than a week. With the King of Wall Street on their side, the deal had real momentum. The price was settled, $210 a share. But one final hurdle remained. A deal this size, involving a foreign government buying a major American cultural asset, has to be reviewed. Under most administrations, this would be a major roadblock. But this isn't most administrations. The regulatory environment has become far more welcoming to allies like Saudi Arabia. And then there's the Kushner factor. People close to the deal noted his involvement could prove valuable if the deal were to hit a snag. As one person close to the Trump administration's inner workings put it,
"What regulator is going to say no to the president's son-in-law?"
And just like that, the largest buyout in history was done. It was a masterclass in modern power, a fusion of private equity genius, sovereign wealth, and unparalleled political connection. A relentless dealmaker finally captured his white whale. The Saudi crown prince bought a crown jewel for his entertainment empire. And the president's son-in-law, with a fund backed by Saudi money, proved he is one of the most effective power brokers on the planet, taking home a 5% stake in the company for his firm. This was never just about a video game. It was a bold wager on the future of artificial intelligence. It was about owning the pipeline to the next generation of fans. And it solidified a financial and political axis stretching from Silicon Valley to Riyadh to the heart of Washington, D.C. So the next time you score a winning goal in EA Sports FC, remember the story behind the screen. It's not just a game. It's a $55 billion move in a much, much bigger game. And you have to ask yourself, who's really winning?